morning and welcome to SimWorld today here on Tuesday, January 21st. Frigid across much of the United States, frigid across particularly uh, South Bend, Indiana. I am Marsh. I'm joined by Rick Blaze. Good morning, Rick. How are you?
I'm frigid.
He's frigid. He looks frigid. We got plenty to get to. We will talk national championship. We'll talk conference play again, just one day away. Well, let's start with the SWFL, where postseason football rolls on. Conference championship is this Sunday with both Kansas City and the Bills, and of course the NFC East matchup, Washington and Philadelphia going at it. So, looking ahead here, Rick, what's your expectations? We talked a lot about the reaction yesterday. So, what's your expectations coming into Sunday?
I expect the refs to cheat for the Chiefs again. That's off top. I expect Patrick Mahomes to get any and every single call, benefit of the doubt, every time you blow in his ear, every time you say something about his mama, every time you offer to help him off the ground, you're going to get hit with a 15-yard penalty of some sort. I also expect a good game between Josh Allen, who's now uh, in the eyes of media and pundits, have now risen to the next level because he's playing in the championship conference game. But I expect a really good game. Of course, I'm going for the Bills to win for all the other reasons above. I said about the Chiefs and Mahomes, and on the other side of it, hey man, why not? Why not shock the world with Jaden Daniels going to the ship with the Commanders? Why not? It's gonna be a long shot because the Eagles play really good, complete football from both sides, offensively and defensively. Saquon Barkley is a man on a mission. Their offensive line does a really good job for him, and Jalen Hurts has been able to just manage the football game for the most part. But don't get it twisted. He can pass, and he does have wide receivers to pass it to when he needs to. The Eagles team is a dangerous team. They are the expected favorites to win this thing. But man, look, you can catch lightning in a bottle. You only need to get hot at the right time. And for the Washington Commanders, they are hot. They're scorching at the right time. Why not the Commanders? I give them a really, really good shot, even as underdogs.
I think this is the best chance that the Bills have to win the conference championship. This is the first conference championship since 2020. This is the fourth time they've played Kansas City in the last 5 years, and this is, without a doubt, in my opinion, the worst Kansas City offense that the Chiefs have had during this 7 consecutive conference championship game run. That being said, this is also the best defense, and I think amongst all this, that is the one thing that tends to get overlooked with Kansas City. There's all the conversation about the refereeing with Kansas City. Is Travis Kelce washed up? Do we see too much Taylor Swift? We do. Is the offense, what's wrong with the offense? And all that tends to just not pay attention to the fact that Steve Spagnuolo has made this defense absolutely incredible. But I still think this is the best chance for Buffalo because Kansas City has not looked offensively like a championship team. Defensively, they have. But offensively, this team looks very reminiscent of 2000s Baltimore Ravens, right? Team that had mediocre quarterback play. I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes been playing mediocre, but mediocre quarterback play, a mediocre offense, and an absolutely suffocating defense. And that's what
Their
Kansas
defense
City
is
is.
not Baltimore deep. I mean,
I
I
didn't
get
say
what
it
you're
was.
trying to say.
I'm not comparing them, Rick. All I'm saying is that's the vibe this team gets. Is it's a
Okay.
team that is based purely off of their defense. Their defense is very, very good. But I think Baltimore has their best shot because this offense is rickety. They did not look dominant at any point this season. They did not look particularly dominant last week, even though that was a double-digit win. I think that was purely from a turnovers and just lack of execution standpoint from Houston, and that's what it comes down to. So long as Buffalo does not turn the ball over, I think they've got it. On the other side, at some point, you got to stop thinking of Jaden Daniels as a rookie, and that might just be a statement of fact to myself than anything else. But this team has looked really good. The question mark is going to be, can you beat Saquon Barkley? Can you slow down that guy? Because he has been the absolute best and most impactful football player across the SWFL this season. If you can't slow him down, then Washington's dream run is going to come to an end. it's going to be tough to do. The benefit is you get two cold weather teams playing in a cold weather environment. I'm sure they're practicing outside all week long to make sure they get used to that environment. But if it's all going to hinge on what does Saquon Barkley do? Jalen Hurts going to be healthy? He's going to be banged up? Whatever. Jalen Hurts, is he going to throw the ball? AJ Brown, is he going to complain? Is he going to read again? Who cares? If Saquon Barkley is getting it done on the ground, that's how Philadelphia marches on. All right, speaking of marching on, Notre Dame and Ohio State met last night in the national championship game, and Ohio State busts out to an early lead led by as many as 24. But yet the game was still in question late in this one, but a 33-23 win, 34-23 win for the now national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. Your takeaways, Rick, last night?
It started off as a game that I thought was going to be a snooze because Ohio State got out to such a big lead. But credit to Notre Dame, who came back and fought. Defense stepped up. Offense kind of got it going. I think the biggest takeaway here, we're not going to talk about the players, those who are going into the draft, because we know about those. I want to talk about the coach. And I mean the coach from Notre Dame, Josh Freeman, former quarterback that was drafted first
Marcus.
round, number 17 pick overall. I think if not this offseason, by next offseason, I think he makes his way to the SWFL. And that's a hot take because I don't know if there's anybody that's been talking about him in that position, but I believe I can see Josh Freeman very, very soon, if not this offseason, by next
Marcus Freeman.
offseason.
Hold
I'm
on.
sorry.
It's
Huh?
Marcus Freeman. It's Marcus
Marcus Freeman.
Freeman.
I'm sorry. I'm saying the wrong name.
You're saying Josh Freeman.
Well, Marcus Freeman. Well, we call him Josh back home. Marcus
I
Freeman.
guess so.
I, is, huh?
I said I guess so.
Marcus Freeman, the coach for Notre Dame. I can see him being SWFL coach by next season or the season after. I think to me that's the biggest takeaway from that. I think he's done with this Notre Dame team that hasn't been done in a long, 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 long time. Brought the program back to the pinnacle. They came up short, but I think for me that's the biggest takeaway. The coach is probably on his way to the big time, to the show, as they would say.
Well, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are in this game because of Marcus Freeman. They also lost this game because of Marcus Freeman because there was two plays that I thought tilted this game, and I don't think one of them won't be a surprise, and that was the decision to kick the field goal. And I understand the kick the field goal and you miss it. Jeter planks it off the left upright, which has been the biggest problem that Ohio State have faced all season. But to me, like, you get to the 9 yard line in a game in which to that point you had not moved the ball at all. I understand if you hit that field goal, then you're down six or hoping to get down six there at the end instead of down eight, and there's, the impacts of that. But you're at the 9 yard line and you've already gone for it on fourth down in more challenging situations. You have to know going into the red zone, this is four down territory. It is four down territory, so we need to make sure we're making the next one more manageable than the next one or the last one. And you started off that possession with a quarterback dive. I mean, use your Dame running backs, man. And Riley Leonard was fine on the ground. He was good. But a quarterback dive on first and goal from the 9, and then a terrible fade route to your tight end on second down. And then third down, a chuck to the end zone that gets, or I think it was a slant route that gets dropped. And then, of course, you kick the field goal that goes off the other edge. None of that is the right sequence of events. If you're going to run it on first down, use your electric running backs. Use a screen pass. Get somebody going in space. Second down, don't fade route to your tight end. I mean, what's his name? Golden or Greyhouse, I think his name is.
Great golden retriever, great streak, something like that.
Was having a fantastic fourth quarter, making big plays, and yet you don't go to him until I think it was that third down attempt, and then of course you kick the field goal. I understand you make that and you're suddenly down six because you score that ensuing touchdown. I don't care. That is a go for the end zone. But to me, the most questioning play was when it was 28-7, early second half. Ohio State just marched out in less than 2 minutes and scored a touchdown. You have 4th and 2 inside your own 40. You bring out the punt team and you go for a fake punt, which ball was dropped, should have been caught.
Absolutely.
Ohio State knew that was coming. Now, was it a good play from the quarterback? Yes. Was it a bad play by the wide receiver? Yes. But Ohio State knew that play was coming. You have to. If you're you're down by 20, or you're down by 21 points. Don't try to act like, well, nope, we're going to punt this one way. Everyone knows you're going for it. Don't do a gimmicky fake punt and just put out your guys that actually are meant to be on offense and go out there and let them make a play. And I think those
But
were
it
the
was a
two.
good call, March. The guy didn't catch he didn't do his job.
Because you want to
It
know
was a
why?
good call. It worked.
Because he's not your starting wide receiver. There's a reason he's on punt team and not on first team offense, and that was the exact reason why. Put your
The whole
best
point of the
players out there.
play was delusion and deception. I can't
I
do
get that.
delusion and deception if I'm
Well,
going
you
to
don't
before
need
you
to.
know it.
Rick, you're down 21 in the second half. There's no
Yeah.
delusion necessary. Go for fourth down. If you're going to go for it, knuckle up and go for it. It was 4th and 2. Don't do a fake punt. Because, by the way, your defense does a great job holding them. That's their last points until the last field goal. That's exactly what sets up the fact that you needed to get 3 touchdowns and 3 extra points. If you're going to do it, go for it. Do not do a gimmicky fake punt to try to get some action out of it. Go for it on 4th down like you did, but with your actual first team offense out there. Make a play, keep the thing rolling. Because that field goal ultimately is what made that game out of reach in the fourth quarter and needed such a desperation last gasp from the Fighting Irish to get there. All right, let's head to SimWorld U, where the season rolls on. Conference play begins tomorrow. We do have some games, obviously, tonight, but conference play will begin tomorrow on SimWorld TV. Alabama and Auburn and Gonzaga, Colorado State, SEC, and Mountain West matchup. So as we look to conference play, what are you most interested and or excited about, Rick?
Hey, the SEC. I love the conference play in general because this is a time where you get to see the separation between the man and the boys. The conference play is when you get to see who's really who and who's really been pretending like who. So I love that this time of year. Take out the non-conference play. Yeah, it doesn't play the part, absolutely. But what you set yourself up for the Hoopsteria, what you set yourself up as a team in your conference, all starts right here. And I'm looking forward to the SEC, which is arguably the best conference in all of college basketball. At least it's from the top part. You know what I mean? Maybe it's a little top heavy, but the SEC is dangerous. You mentioned the Big Ten, which has a lot. I think the Big Ten might be the deepest team in all of college basketball. So I think the Big Ten, the SEC, the conference play all together, but those two conferences specifically, I think it's going to be a war of attrition between those teams, and I'm so looking forward to those guys going head to head.
4 teams in the SEC in the top 11, 3 teams in the top 6, and 2 of the top 3 teams in the country all in the SEC. Plus, you've got South Carolina, who's been ranked at points this season, Florida, who's been ranked at points this season, Tennessee. Don't look now; they're 8-8, and they're starting
Boy,
to put together
boy,
good.
don't get me started
Hold
on
on,
Tennessee.
I'm
Just keep
just
going.
saying that's not an easy team to get through in your top 8. Excuse me. Same thing for Missouri. You've got high level talent on both of those teams, which means that on any given night, you could see this team kind of spur to life and pull an upset. The challenge is going to be how many times do you see a team at the top take down that middle tier, right? Because your Ole Misses, your Georgia, your LSUs, those 3 teams are going to be in for a really rough SEC slate. They're all 5-11, 5-14, 4-12, and they're going to have to get Alabama twice, Kentucky twice, Mississippi State twice, Arkansas twice. It is going to be a rough slate. For me, what I'm most interested in is some of these teams that we probably didn't expect to be at the top that are at the top. Now, I talked about the ACC and particularly Georgia Tech on my podcast yesterday because it's kind of this is an out of nowhere team. How good are they really? And they're going to have to start playing, consistently good basketball teams. Not that their non-conference play wasn't, but you're getting Duke twice. You're getting Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Maryland, or not Maryland, excuse me, Virginia Tech 2 times apiece. So to me, what I'm most interested in, the teams that we didn't expect to be here, Georgia Tech, Texas, Virginia Tech, Iowa, these teams that have kind of come out of nowhere to have really good campaigns. That's just in the top 10. Mississippi State, I think you can add into that mix. How good are they really? How good are they really now that they're going to play for the SEC squads and the Big Ten squads, particularly the best teams in college basketball on a more consistent basis because we have seen that isolation of talent within two different conferences. Really, if you look at that, that's 8 of the top 25 teams are in the Big Ten and the SEC. There's a case that it could be up to 12, or excuse me, up to 10 by the end of the weekend. That
You had yesterday. You had 9 Big Ten schools going right.
the Hoopsteria, I stand by
Yeah.
that one. 9 Big Ten teams going to because here's why. You're gonna 64 teams, okay? Your top 6 teams in this conference are going. That's Iowa, Maryland, Minnesota, Rutgers, Indiana. That's your top, and Michigan State. Excuse me. That's your top 6. 4 of them are currently ranked in the top 5. I've talked about this a lot because there's this really big middle class of college basketball, and for a long time we weren't seeing a lot of teams outside of the top 25 above 500. It's pretty much if you can get above 500, you're going to be in Hoopsteria. I mean, you're probably going to be a lower seed, but you're going to be in Hoopsteria, and then it's just Ohio State who's 500, Illinois and Purdue who are both 7-7. The question mark to me is how do those guys get above the hump and become a above 500 team? And if they do, I think that puts them into Hoopsteria. I think it's as simple as that, Rick.
And it can happen, right? We've seen it before. We've seen these conferences load up on teams in the hoops area. What I like about it is your this time of the year, the conference play, it really starts to separate. It really starts to separate teams, and there's going to be some teams who've been sitting at the top all season long in their conference, and you're going to slowly see them do this, drop down to the back of the pack, because when you get to conference play, it's no longer, you can't feast on these cupcake schedules. These teams and these players are very familiar with each other. In some instances, the coaches are too. So you're really going to have to really bring your A game to survive these conferences. So I'm looking forward to see, in addition to just the games being played, I'm looking forward to see the pecking order and how it changes between the guys at the top and the guys in the middle, as you say, the middle class, and see how that order starts to change between those two teams. Because I think there's a few conferences that's wide open. I still think the Pac-12 is wide open.
Yeah, no one's ranked in
Uh,
the top 10 or in the top 25. Nobody has
it's
10
wide
wins.
open. It's
The
wide
best
open.
team is USC at 9-6, and they will be, which we'll get to on Thursday, our game of the week. But yes, I think you're going to see some real chance for some entertainment. All right, it was a short SimWorld U night last night and midday, but let's get to our SimWorld U wrap up. I started off with a little matinee action between Nevada and Indiana, so that's where we'll roll the tape and start things out at. It's Indiana at home dominating. Keontae Dior, who leaves early with a hamstring injury. He's at this point day to day, but 17 from Dior, 17 from Antonino Reese,
All day
and
today,
a big
Marshall.
win for Indiana on that one. Head to Michigan State, where New Mexico comes into town and the Spartans hold them off with a 72-63 win. A massive night from Jai Edge, 29 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists for Sparty. Goes 3 for 3 from deep, and Michigan State picks up their fifth straight win of the season. Head to Rutgers, where they played host to San Diego State, and the Aztecs play spoiler. 16 points from Darian Hunt. San Diego State beats the number 25 team Rutgers on the season. That's could be enough to knock out Rutgers from the top 25. We will find that out. We've got more hoops coming. We mentioned it's a doubleheader tonight. It's a tripleheader tomorrow. And all of that leads up to our SimWorld U game of the week. Clash in LA. USC and UCLA for early first place bragging rights in conference play. They're 2 of the top 4 teams in the conference. USC 9-6, UCLA one of 3 teams at 9-7. They've each won 3 of their last 5. USC's strung together 3 straight wins. We've got potential draft picks in action. Gabe Pope 2 seasons from now, maybe. Jalen Snow, an expected lottery pick, will be going at it for the Bruins. That's all tomorrow as part of the ESPN triple header, but we are tonight. SMU and St. John's. How about a little American accent to start things off? That's enough for it to get rolling. Actually, I beg your pardon. Alabama and Auburn too. So all of that going down tonight on SimWorld TV. That is our show. We're coming back tomorrow morning. We'll recap everything that gets rolling tonight in action. That is SMU St. John's on CBS tonight. Tomorrow is conference play. There we go. We got our dates right. All right, Rick, we will talk to you tomorrow morning. Appreciate you all tuning in here on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game, be the game.
This has been a presentation of SimWorld Sports.